accountants, Istian here. In this video, I would like to present about the entities that are interested or concerned with the accounting standard. So, we have 7 entities. Start with individual and public firms, and the second we have the Americans of Institute Certified Public Accountants, or we can call it AICPA, and the third we have the American Accounting Associations, or we can call it AAA. The fourth we have the Financial Accounting Standard Board, and the fifth we have the Securities and Exchange Commissions, and the sixth we have the other professional organizations, and last but not least, the seventh we have the user of financial statement. So, are you ready for learn? Let's move to the next slide. Alright, before we learn about the entities that are interested or concerned with the accounting standard, we have to know first about the definitions of standard or the definitions of accounting standard. Actually, in the United States, before they create this standard, they have already practiced, they have already do the business activities. One of the outcomes of business activities is financial reportings. So imagine if they have no theories, they have no uniform theories, they have no guidelines, they have no method to practice the accountings, to prepare the financial statement. So they may have provide the different financial statements of its company or its firms. Because of that, their financial statements cannot be compared. Their financial statements cannot provide the real informations of financial positions or the real informations of their performance. So they have to create standard, they have to establish standard. This is in accordance with the definition of standards by Financial Accounting Standard Board. The first entities is individual and public firms. So let's see the picture. We know that the field of accounting is a very huge. One of them is public accounting. They offer so many services. One of the service is auditing. The auditing process is like how to check the financial statement and check the accounting process of the firms. But if there is no theory, there is no standard, there is no guidelines, how they can make a legal opinion for the company? So they really support, all the public accounting firms really support the accounting standard making in the United States. However, in the United States, there are 8 public accounting firms that support the accounting standard making. They really facilitated about research to make the standard making. So they really hope the standard can help them to make a guidelines about their service operating. The second entity is AICPA, or the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants. This is the organizations, professional organizations, to coordinate all the public accountants, especially in the United States. Their activities divided by 2 departments. The first is Accounting Standard Executive Committee, and the second is Auditing Standard Committee. Their 2 departments really concerns to make solutions about the problems of the standards or problems about the accounting standards. AICPA formed a special department that is Accounting Principles Board, or APB. APB have an important responsibility, that is to create accounting principle. But in their operations, in the ABB's operations, they receive so many pressure. Why? Because at that time, they were so many abuses. There were so many abuses or fraud of operational or of public accounting operational, because there is no theories, there is no guidelines, there is no accounting principles. So that's why APB has to make a principles accounting immediately. But after that, APB have already published 31 statements or opinions about the principles accounting. I'll show you there are four opinions or statements of APB. However, so many are their statements not generally accepted. Why? Why it's not generally accepted? So let's move to the next slide and find the reason. So, why APB not successful to create a principles of accounting or accounting standard? The first reason is APB make an alternative, and this alternative allow the firms to overstate the earning per share in the term of like merger and acquisitions condition. And the second, there are still lack adequacy of new problems. At that time, they have actually faced the new problems like tax credit, franchise industries, and land development business until the long-term leasing. But APB not concerned in that new problems. And the third, there are still found like fraud cases because using the failed methods. And the last but not least, APB cannot make the conceptual framework of accounting. The third entity is American Accounting Associations, or we can call it AAA. AAA is the organizations, academical organizations. I say it again, academicals. Because of that, the members of AAA, most of them from the professor, lecturer, and people who have interest to developing the accounting theory and practical. And the most interesting things about AA is they have the most prestigious journal, that is Accounting Review Journal, Accounting Review Published Journal. This journal concerns about the research analysis and theoretical of developing accounting in general. AAA also conduct the academical activities, of course, like research, and then AAA conduct the seminars, symposiums, and open the discussions about the accounting theory. And there are 5 statements that I'll show you to my slide. 5 statements that develop accounting standard by American Accounting Associations, or AAA. Alright, continues with the third entities. The third entity is Financial Accounting Standard Board. Before that, do you remember APB? Accounting Principles Board that formed by AICPA. And why we have to talk again about that? Because there is a correlation between FASB and APB. Do you remember that APB not successful to create the accounting standard or the principles of accounting? Because of that, in the 1973, APB have to disband, and in the same year form a new organization, a new independent organizations that replace the important responsibility of APB. Why I said independent? Because these organizations no longer be part of the AICPA, and the organizations called FASB. FASB have the work results, have the 3 work results. The first is standard and interpretations, and the second is financial accounting concept, And the third is the technical of bulletins. And still under the FASB, let's take a look to the slide. This is the conceptual frameworks of financial reporting. I think we have already learned about this in the intermediate accounting. And these conceptual frameworks describe about the objective, about the qualitative characteristics, elements, principles, assumptions until the constraints of financial reporting. Because of these conceptual frameworks, the users of the people that have to make financial statements already have the guidelines to provide the properly financial statement. Continues with the fifth entities. The fifth entities is Securities and Exchange Commissions, or SEC. SEC was formed in United States and in 1934. When we talk about accounting, it can be separated with capital markets. Why? Because the companies or the firms carry out their business activities through the capital markets too, like buy and sell shares, merger, acquisitions until the consolidated conditions. When the firms or the companies through the capital markets, their financial statement, their disclosures becomes the go public or becomes a go public's company. Their financial statements and their disclosures becomes public consumptions. Because of that, in the operational of capital markets may have rules, may have guidelines too, and SEC, Security and Exchange Commissions, have the authorities to make that rules, to make the law of the full disclosure financial statement. Although in their operations, SEC not full authorized because they have to be cooperated too with FASB. After learning about the 5 entities that concern with the accounting standard, we have to know again the other professional organizations that concern with the accounting standard. We have International Accounting Standard Committee and already produced the International Accounting Standard, although in their development in their operations becomes to the International Accounting Standard Board and already produced the International Financial Reporting Standard, or IFRS. And the other is like Institute Management Accounting, or IMA, and Cost Accounting Standard Boards, and we have FEI, like Financial Execute Institute. The last entities that concern with the accounting standard is the users of the financial statement. The users of financial statements divide into two. The first is direct users and indirect users. Direct users such as the owner, of course, shareholder, tax departments, and many more. And for the indirect users, we have the financial analysts, also we have the competitors, and many more. For example, why do the shareholders concern with the standard? Shareholders concern with the standards because with the standard, shareholders can find out the real financial positions and the performance of the company whose the shares are owned by the shareholders. And the most important things with the standard that can provide the real information, the reliable information, shareholders can make decisions. If I, as shareholders, I can make decisions Will I continue to invest to that company or not? After studying the 7 entities that interested or concerned with the accounting standard, it can be concluded that the 7 entities has its own organizational goals. Even though the 7 entities really concern support to the preparations of accounting standard. Why? Because if the accounting standard exists, the standards will provide the guidelines and will show the reliable information to the accounting practical and financial reporting. So that's all my presentations, and thank you. See you future accountants.